Hey everyone, welcome to Cryptid Crunch. Thanks for joining us tonight. So we got a great show planned. We have Joe-Dog McKeel joining us. He used to be a ghost hunter, so I'm ready to pick his brain because I'm sure there's a lot of haunted places that he's been to, and I'm curious as to hear about his experiences and what he's done to try not to overstep his bounds when it comes to telling people that some place is not haunted as much as they think it is. So. All right, so Keisha was just telling me a fun story of how her living room just about went up in flames. Please enlighten us. Bad words to say, but
so it's okay. But before we get into that, because I've got a lot of explaining to do, we might want to bring up our other guest just so that way he's not sitting in the back.
Oh, okay. So.
I can wait. I'm in for a good story.
So I was talking to some of my friends the other night, and they pointed out the fact that. Okay. Sorry, toddler times. But so a friend of mine. Okay, you go hide them, honey. A friend of mine pointed out the fact that just the same day as the fire, or no, the night before the fire, I brought home an antique mirror.
Uh-oh.
A full-length antique wooden mirror. It's beautiful. I love it. But that's not the point here. So they just pointed that out to me. But the other day, there was a freak accident and my wood pellet burner caught on fire. To the point where you could not breathe or see in my house because the smoke was so thick.
Was the door to your word burner open though?
No.
Okay, well,
it burned from the inside.
Okay.
So, like, the entire thing caught fire. And we know it wasn't because, like, we clean it out every day. We turn it off in the morning. We dump the ashes and everything like that out of it, and we make sure that everything's functioning properly. And then once a week, we vacuum the entire thing out, and we make sure that nothing's plugged up. So we know that wasn't the issue. But it caught fire, and 1 second, honey, okay? It was fun. I thankfully caught it before it caught the house on fire. It basically stayed in the corner, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
It was mostly like we decided to have a really horrible smoky bonfire inside the house. So while I got this little one, of course, we got her out to the car, and because it was sleeting and you could not breathe in the house at all or see. 1 second, baby.
Can I have it?
Here, I'll take it.
Hello, Dolores.
Here you go. You can say hi if you would like.
Hi.
Hi.
So I got her into the car because I had to actually run out to the car with her with my bare feet during an icy, snowy storm, slushy storm, and no coat. Mind you, this is also while being pregnant. I got her in the car and started it up, made sure that she was nice and warm. I told her to stay there, do not go in the house, because you could not breathe in the house. But of course, I went back in the house. Why wouldn't I? Because I'm me.
Daddy, put it out in the car because she was breaking it that time.
I know, but Mommy was saving or trying to save all the animals, remember?
I know, but you could save them and went out, okay?
That's what I did. I saved them and came back out by you. So unfortunately, we did end up losing one of our animals.
Oh,
They died.
I'm so sorry.
But I was able to get everything else. I ended up. Oh, sorry, we're getting a couple comments. But I was able to get. I threw the big duck in the tub. I threw the little ducks in the tub. I took the chicks and I put them in the bathroom. I opened up the window. It was really smoky in there, but I closed the door and I was basically like, hopefully with the window open and them being in here, it's good enough. Because it was all I could do at the time because there was a fire still going on in my house.
And it killed one of our babies.
Yes, it killed one of our baby chickens, unfortunately. But that's all it got. It was due to smoke. So, hi, Goofy. As I was getting all the animals to safety, I was making the cats aren't very smart. Oh, don't touch the screen, baby. It's a touch screen. The cats aren't very smart, and even though I had all of the windows and doors open, instead of running out of the house, they ran upstairs. They would not have survived. Like,
Well, I mean,
don't touch the screen, baby.
Cats.
yeah, they're cats, unfortunately.
Daddy,
But
Happy eat
thankfully, those guys are all good. And then I had all of my other animals closed up in our back area of the house. So I was hoping that the door was blocking as much of the smoke and stuff like that as possible. And so
Yeah.
I was just kind of like crossing my fingers. I was just crossing my fingers and hoping that they were okay. While I was getting all the animals safe, my husband went out to the barn and grabbed the hose that we used to water all of the barn animals, and he drug it all the way up front of the house and into the house he went with it and soaked
Hey, it worked.
everything. But we got the fire out.
Good. Dolores, mommy needs to talk.
She has been very clingy tonight, guys, so sorry.
not done.
Uh-oh.
Settle, please.
Again.
So that was fun. And then right after we got that out and finally aired the house out enough, our roof was leaking.
Okay. Joe Dog, you and I are the skeptics. So, yeah.
Yes.
Dan actually touched on something here. Is there a windbreak flapper inside the chimney flue? Which,
No, I don't believe so. It's just got the intake and the outtake. Hi.
Yay. Watch
But-
me.
Oh,
Yeah, no,
she watched her for a second, so this could be either good or bad. Oh, are you
What's up?
eating your arm? My little cannibal over here.
You're doing an amazing job there, Dolores. Okay, so I don't think it has anything to do with the year that you bought. It's just pure coincidence that this has happened right after you bought it. just crap luck.
Yeah.
Because I
Right.
mean, you've had other things happen the last little while, and this is like 2 and 3, so things happen in threes, unfortunately. You've had the power outage and issues with your bathroom recently, so I don't know. I just the fact that you have an old house and things are starting to break more.
It's an old house.
Except
It's
for the fact that the wood pellet burner was actually the newest thing in our house.
Oh,
Hmm.
interesting.
It just doesn't like us.
well.
Have you had issues with it before, though? Sorry.
I will say I have heard the same story from several different pellet burner users.
Uh-huh.
So it's one of the goods and bads.
Yeah, so we actually plan on just switching over to a regular fireplace. Put your foot down. Nobody wants to see that. You goof.
Not this audience.
Go sit over there.
All right, so good to see you, all those in the chat. Donna, Carl, Dan, and according to Eli, we have reached 5,000 stars. So thanks for donating those stars, whoever you are. And I feel like Eli is the one who donated most of those stars.
Thank you.
So thank you.
What
we need
are
all the
stars?
stars we can get right now, okay?
What are stars? How can I get some?
I think they help with monetization and money,
Okay.
possibly.
I'm going to have to look into that for my stupid show.
Yes. So Joe Dog is joining us. He's the host of Stupid O'Clock, and he used to be part of a paranormal team. So Joe Dog, tell us tell us everything about you. Or
First, I'm going to say lawyers, and I'm going to read a statement.
yeah.
You know how it goes. I left the paranormal investigation field September of 2010 due to the toxic fandom, toxic animosity among the groups, and personal events in the field, and how it has driven wedges between friends that have not yet been repaired. I am no longer involved in any way with paranormal investigation field or with any paranormal investigation team. I was a skeptic investigator. My now defunct group went in on investigations to discover what was happening and explain to the clients what it really was. After that, I worked with a group called SoCal PRS. They're a group out of Los Angeles, talking about the dangers of the paranormal as one of their affiliates in the southeastern U.S. I left that part shortly after members of a paranormal group, including a member of the film crew from The Walking Dead, was killed on an investigation at a train bridge.
Oh.
I spoke with some members of that team just weeks before the incident. Never in my life did I think I would have to include in my talks train bridges as a danger in paranormal.
Wow.
It affected me in ways that you cannot imagine. A few weeks later, I made the choice of stepping away from the field entirely and not to talk about it much. Why? Because one less voice pushing the investigation field could mean a life saved by not being at it or having wrong place, wrong time syndrome. I left the paranormal investigation. Forgot to delete that part. Okay, and with that being said, let's go.
All right. I'm sorry about the loss of your teammate.
Well, they weren't my team. It was just a team that came to one of my talks.
Oh, okay.
And spoke in depth with the guy that was killed on the paranormal team.
Wow.
You know, Who in their right mind gets on an active CSX train line at midnight on a bridge?
Oh wow.
It's like,
Yeah, that is very unsafe, and yeah, that they definitely should have thought better about it.
yeah. And when I was doing the talks about the dangers of the paranormal field, uh, no, we like to do cemetery investigations.
Okay.
Nothing like finding a hornet's nest in a bush and waking them up at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah, that personally to me,
Yeah.
I'm not allergic to bees, but a lot of people that are in the field have a tendency to be allergic to bees. Of course, when I say field investigation, like I said, out in fields, literally, we did a lot of fields and cemeteries.
Yeah.
And one thing you're going to love this. Uh, while I was doing the talks, I actually spoke with a police officer. He was a police sergeant with Hamilton County Police Department. And I just asked him, what would happen if you came across a paranormal team, say in a cemetery or whatever? Can you give me a couple scenarios that could happen? He go, sure. First interaction is the cop tells you to pack up, don't come back. That's best case scenario.
Yeah.
Next case scenario is the cop sees all your equipment, haul you off to jail for trespassing, and then you have court dates, fines, and lawyer fees. That's still not the worst part. And you've dealt with humans before, so people can get a little belligerent sometimes
Mm-hmm.
towards a police officer. And
Yep.
this is his description. He says, okay, say one of your team gets belligerent with the officers and, refuses to comply to any request or all that. He said they may get an on site electroshock therapy. You get that, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Plus the actions of the second, or possibly even worse. And this is what he said if it's escalated: death by sudden onslaught of lead poisoning.
Okay. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be laughing, but yeah.
That's in terms we can understand.
Yeah.
And one more thing I've got written down here. The method we used 12 years ago is not what's widely done today. It's changed.
Yeah.
Anything developed since 2010, I have no clue about.
Okay.
What? I've heard some of the things talking about the voice box and
I don't know. Like I've been watching some of the newer shows now, especially Portals to Hell, where it looks like one of the investigators uses a radio as the voice box.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure how. Like it seems to work well, but again, it's very highly edited.
Yeah.
So
the voice box was coming in as I said, y'all have it.
What were the
one interaction I had with the voice box, like you said, it picks up radio, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm friends with a lot of local radio hosts. Of course, you've seen, with Lewis. Lewis is just one of the friends that deals in local radio. Whenever, there would be an answer, it just so happened to be a friend of mine who was on the air at the time. Many times what was coming through is a commercial, a live read commercial.
Oh.
I'm going, kind of hard to take that one as something real.
Oh, that's good to know.
You just got bad signal.
Yeah, and Donna has a good point. The voice box seems to work too well, if you know what I mean. And yeah, like again, like I've seen different versions of it, and the one that makes me question, seeing this ghetto blaster from like the 80s being used as a voice box just really, I don't know, makes me question why they're using that as a voice box and not newer ish technology.
Of course, Eli is saying the Polaroids and tape recorders are more practical, less chance to doctor and edit. Yes.
Yeah.
Of course, digital photography is great, but with a little bit of background in technology, in photography and digital technology, guys, wipe off your lens.
Thank you. Thank you.
I actually took photography,
Yeah.
like several years of photography, and that's like they push that so much because there's so many particles and stuff like that can get on the lens that we can't see. But
way too many of these ghost shows now, like you can actually see the dirt spots on the lens while they're in like the when all the lights are turned off, and it's just like, really, you didn't notice that before you set up the camera?
Yeah. The
but yeah, no, and a lot of the newer with the digital cameras, taking pictures of something and stating, oh, there's like there's like an apparition, and all you see is like pixels.
Hey, those are beautiful pixels.
Actually, there is a term for it. I can't pull it off the top of my head, but the human brain will arrange patterns to make something, to understand what it's looking at.
Yeah, Rich actually just said that too.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys, I know most of you are aware my daughter is obsessed with watching ghost hunters and videos. Okay, apparently I'm raising the 5-year-old correctly. I don't know, but there is this one person she is obsessed with on YouTube. I don't know if I'm allowed to say the name or anything, but he posts videos of paranormal activity, and he just basically comments on, like, he takes people who do paranormal investigations and he comments on what they're finding. But most of the time he's like, oh, is it real or is it just an elaborate hoax? One of the recent episodes he just posted is a video from back in probably, I'm going to say the early 2000s, it looked like. But it was a video of somebody was recording a theatrical thing, and all of a sudden they're like, oh, this lady haunts the theater. But you can obviously tell it was faked because right as they're doing this scene, smoke, like the smoke machines start going. And then up in the air is why they think it's a ghost, starts flashing a lady in a long dress. And you could tell that it is just a projection. Just looking at it. And
that,
I'm
sorry,
like,
go ahead.
You guys try to pass the weirdest things off as ghosts, and
yeah,
you can obviously, anybody with a functioning brain can go, huh, that's not real.
Yeah. This was when I was actually doing one of my classes that I was actually teaching about ghost hunting. Try to bring that up a little more. Okay. That was when we were having a dry spell. And I mean, we're actually in a drought. So the air was super dusty. And if you notice, there's a cross right there in the middle of the
Hmm.
screen. I would always, when we take pictures, we always take 3 pictures. And I was sort of holding the camera out and taking the picture, and you could see when I flashed, whew, the whole. I mean, it would literally block your view. There's that much.
Look at all those ghosts you caught, Joe.
But something weird happened. All right.
What the?
Yeah.
Did a clone show up?
Now, I took this picture, then this picture, look towards the cross and look up above the grave.
I just see.
Is my pointer showing up?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, no, not that far, dummy. What do you see right in this area right here?
Oh, it kind of looks like a person.
Yeah.
I can see legs and arms and a whole body.
Yeah. But it was dust.
Yeah.
Hey,
And
that dust could be haunted.
And as Rich said, your brain tries to, where is it? What was it? Yeah, recognition. We need to find a pattern. And that's all that is.
Yeah, and you know, I as much as I love watching these shows, I also scream at them because it's like their focus, their camera is always focused on them and never what they're looking at.
Yeah.
Keisha has to go find out what Dolores is doing.
Now, I will tell you, I was with the first teams that investigated some of the places that you know of in my area. The old South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Okay.
I was third person through the door that night.
Oh.
The first investigation.
And anything? What did you get from that? From investigating that?
I really thought that lung cancer from asbestos, but it. Really, we got nothing.
Oh.
I mean, no, nothing. The haunted Hales Bar Dam. Do you remember the Ghost Adventures, Zach?
Yep. That's a show I frequently scream at.
What was that?
Yep. That's the one where it's like the camera's always on them and their music, they have background music strategically over the sounds that they're listening to.
Yeah. I will tell you this. If you remember the interview of the local guy that was, the marina got hit with a tornado that day.
Oh, okay.
And they showed the aftermath of the tornado. And they actually had an interview with one of the local radio guys who was just so happened to be standing in the powerhouse of the dam as the tornado is coming through. And this guy walks up beside him. And he's saying, wow, it sure is glad we're not out there. He said the guy nodded his head and he looked over at him and there was nobody there.
Wow.
Well, I found pictures of the man that was in charge of building the dam. And then I sent it to him. I said, Jeff, did it look like this guy? He goes, that is the guy.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there is ghosts. I will say there is ghost stuff going on. Hell's Bar Dam is probably one of the best.
Okay.
Do you remember the end of Hell's Bar Dam showing the person moving back and forth?
I've heard of that being a very big investigation spot. And
I have seen it.
okay.
We were one of the first people that saw it. We were.
Oh wow.
I mean, I had a team of 6 people,
Okay.
and one, never go ghost hunting alone.
Obviously.
Always have a teammate. That falls in under my dangers of the paranormal.
Yep.
I mean, last thing you need to do is fall in a hole and nobody knows you're there. But we could see the person walking back and forth, back and forth. So we go up to the what is called the balcony of the powerhouse. Sent 3 of my guys to walk over there to it. As they got to it, it disappeared. And they said, okay, well, there's a little door. Well, they went out and they were looking around and all that. And me, Evelyn, and Steve and Drew were standing up there. And we're looking, talking, all that. All of a sudden, as this is going on, I hear in this ear, hey, they're in front of me. Needless to say, one of them about took a header off because I spun in flight mode. Nobody there. And we turned, and I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. We're cool. We're cool. It showed up on the other side of the powerhouse. Get on there and I said, guys, where are y'all at? Well, we're on the side. I said, shine your light up on the windows to the side. They were almost right beside us. Do a loop. No, do a loop back. We use code words on stuff. I mean, it was seconds. Not a sound out of them. They're coming back through the door and it was gone again. So,
Interesting.
But yeah, that is a real thing. It really happens there. As they're coming back through, I felt something grab me by the throat.
Oh wow.
I mean, I couldn't breathe. So Evelyn, who was number 2, took over, says, all right, everybody down and out. So we met up outside, well, almost to the door. We're coming, 3 of us coming this way, the other 3 coming this way. The 3 that were coming towards us, one of them went, we're going, what? And he went, let's go out, let's go out, let's go out. I said, what was the big deal? What was the big deal? Joe, there was something standing behind you looking like it was trying to grab you.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Well, obviously, you're still here with us, so it didn't succeed.
And then, do you remember the Ghost Hunter, or not the Ghost Adventures episode where it cut right at the end?
I feel like I've seen it.
One
I'm
of them
sure I've seen it.
had something happen. It said, it's so horrifying we can't show you.
Yeah.
Directly on the other side of the wall from him was where all that happened to me.
Oh.
He was
wow.
he was lifted off the ground and thrown against the wall.
Wow.
We were respectful.
Yeah. Oh, that's really interesting.
And
And
I can't find the hard drive anymore. I've 6 computers got past that, but we also discovered, the EMF detector that ghost hunters uses,
okay.
the Lutron, whatever, best one for the field. Excuse me. Um, we were in the tunnels all the way down to the dead end of the tunnel, and we're doing the EVP session plus video and the EMF detector. The EMF detector, in and out, in and out, in and out, up and down. Again, first group ever in there, so everything is new. So we sat down to do an EVP session, and it's moving, and finally I just set it on the ground, roll a camera around to shine on it so you can see the numbers. Nobody near it, nobody touching it. We started asking questions. And for a yes answer, try to grab the little black box here. For a no, get away from it. And you could see the numbers go up and down and yes, no answers.
Okay.
On playback of the EVP is we got an EVP is who are these people?
Oh.
One of the guys during the EVP session got his hair pulled, jumped up, spun around. EVP, 2 or 3 seconds after, we can have fun with this. They're discovering it.
Huh.
I mean, whatever entity it was discovering it. And when we says, okay, thank you, we're going to leave. Now, you need to stay here. That is another phrase you must learn. You need to stay here. The EVP says, oh no, they're leaving.
How do you have you worked with psychics for these investigations as well, or how much?
That's who Stephen Drew is.
Okay.
He was. You ain't got enough time for me to tell you Stephen Drew stories.
Okay.
Again, we were a debunking crew.
Yeah.
We tried our best to trip him up on stuff, give him false leads. He wouldn't.
Oh. He was wise to your BS.
Hey
Well,
guys.
one investigation house.
What's up, Keisha?
So Dolores just has a huge coughing fit, and she says she doesn't feel good. So I think I'm gonna hop off early tonight. If that's okay with you guys?
Yeah, by all means, take care of your daughter.
All right, I'll talk to you guys later. Thank you for being on, Joe. Keep Willow occupied for me.
Hey, if anybody else wants to pop on, I'd be happy to bring you on.
Yeah. And hey, we've still got an hour and a half to go. It's 2-hour show, right?
No, it's just
it's an hour, but whatever.
I'm so used to 2-hour shows.
Yeah, I know.
I'll talk to you later. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Right. Have a good night.
Okay. All right. No, we did an investigation on a house, and he kept telling us that he sees a man coming down the steps. Well, let me tell you how to get to that. As you come into the neighborhood, you pass the cemetery on the left. You go down the road to the house, just straight down that road to the house. House is on the left.
Okay.
I'm telling you this because stuff that's happened.
Yeah.
he tells us there's a man coming down the steps. He's very sad, depressed. Goes out on the front porch, sad, depressed, looks around, goes down the sidewalk, down the steps to the street, turns left and walks to the cemetery. Remember, the cemetery was on your left coming in.
Yeah.
House is on the left.
Interesting.
So he would be wrong, right?
Yeah.
A week before, I worked for the city of Chattanooga, out and about, driving around a lot. 3 blocks from this house, guess what I discover off in the woods?
Another cemetery.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, by the way, Stephen is from England.
Okay.
Only been in the States 5 years.
Oh, wow.
Didn't know anything about that end of town. Okay.
Do you,
Just lucky guess.
when you did your investigations, did you do any background work on some of the places that you investigated?
We had one person that would, do background stuff on them, but she would not tell us anything about the location until after the investigation and after the analyzing of the videos and stuff. Of course,
Yeah.
that is the bad part of paranormal investigation. Reviewing evidence.
I remember the video that Lewis played of the investigation that he took part in.
Yeah.
Or like the
Well, that was actually the second investigation of South Pittsburgh Hospital.
Oh. I do have that video. Am I allowed to play that or?
I don't.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah, we had. Lewis would absolutely give us permission, but since it was a newscast, not on the station's YouTube channel, I don't know. You know how?
Yeah, no. I understandable.
Here lately, we got to err on the side of caution.
So okay, you were saying something about about being part of the Chattanooga team.
Yeah.
So the Chattanooga, I tried to do some research. I found a video on your YouTube. I know it's an old video of the whistle. Of the Chattanooga choo choo. I was trying to find other information about it and trying to find like other stories to corroborate.
We discovered what it was.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, there were little flaming torches.
Okay.
One of those torches, and it was right close to where we were, whistled as it burned.
Oh. That's
Yeah.
That's a very distinct whistle.
Yeah, and it's one of those we're like, really?
That's okay. At least you guys debunked that and found out what it was.
We debunked. That's why a lot of the bigger groups around the country respected us.
Okay.
It's one of those, what the hell is that? Why does it do that? What could make it do that?
Interesting.
If we could discover a natural explanation, we then rule out it's not haunted.
Yep. Another one thing that I have noticed, and this seems to be common in almost every city, every village, or
Yeah.
county, and it is the lady in white story is very common, or the bride that kills herself in hotels.
Yeah.
And we have I worked at one hotel that with the story of the bride, the haunted room 202, and I cleaned that room several times. I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened while being in that room. I didn't see anything during my 3 months of working at that hotel. So I mean, other than getting stuck in an elevator.
And it's
But
old.
yeah, it's it's 100-year-old hotel. So
We've got one of those here in town called the Reed House. It has, I think it's room 312. Excuse me. Room 312 was supposedly a murder took place in the room. Annalise something or other.
mm,
And people, there's all sorts of stories and all that. Well, the hotel's been through a couple remodels. And in one of the earlier remodels, they got tired of people trying to rent this room, their brain screwing with their mind, and they bail and try to get their money back on the room.
mm,
So during one of the remodels, they said, we're going to solve this problem. They swapped room numbers.
oh,
They then made room 312. Well, you worked in an old hotel. Some rooms are designated for storage, and
yep,
the original room 312 at this hotel is a storage room.
okay.
So anybody that goes and says, yeah, I stayed in 312 and had all this, I'm going, okay.
Yep. Oh, that's exactly how I felt when working at the Port Gary Hotel. Like, I I walked into several rooms where it definitely remodeled. They modernized the heck out of those at that place, and I'm looking at these closets, going, "There's no way." No way anybody has hung themselves in any of these closets.
And Carl says, oh, yeah, sometimes even a campfire will whistle.
Yeah.
So, but we were talking before the show about EMF. High EMF will affect your brain. And we got called in on a house that, kids having nightmares, the classic, monsters under the bed, all this. Of course, our psychic, Stephen Drew, we call him our utility guy.
Okay.
Stephen Drew, he does not show up to any of the locations. We don't even give him the address until 30 minutes before we head to the location. Keep him totally in the dark. As we walk in, he goes, I tell him, all right, do your stuff in the front yard. He will walk through and tell you, okay, your water line's running right here. They've got buried underground, but the transformer's over there, but it's coming in over here instead of the closest run. Stuff like that. So, he walks around, he tells us where, major utilities come into the house, which plays into a lot of stuff we deal with. We look at the kids' room, all this. And Stephen goes, the breaker box is under her bed.
Oh.
Her headboard was up against the wall underneath the breaker box. All the main
Interesting.
lights come up, go under her bed.
Hmm.
So, long story short, we go, do the whole investigation and, present some evidence to them and recommend rearrange her bedroom, see what happens. Move the bed over to this side of the wall. That night, the nightmare stopped.
Oh.
She was sensitive to EMF.
Huh. Wow.
So, one house we went in. This is a Civil War home that had been upgraded with, normal utilities. And people freak out in the bathroom and in the basement. Mainly when they're taking a bath. So we go down, we're setting up. I set up 5 cameras throughout the place that ran from start to stop, uninterrupted. We can get 10 hours of video. Of course, 10 hours of video on 5 cameras is 50 hours that you've got to sit and watch a damn toilet. Well, we get downstairs and we're investigating, and hair standing up on the back of my neck. I'm like, ugh. Ugh. And finally, I just tell the guys, out now, out, evacuate. And we're climbing over each other to get out of the basement.
Oh, wow.
So I get up, front end of the house, I calm down, all that. And I go, ain't no ghost running me out of someplace. I'm not going to fall for that. Bring the EMF detector, bring the audio recorders, we're going back down there. And they're going, Joe, I said, we're going back. Because their hair was standing on end. Here I go with the EMF detector. I walk in. I'm going, okay, what are you doing? Oh my God. Holy shit. Oh, I almost said the bad word on your show, but
It's okay. I slip it out once in a while too. Don't worry.
main power cable from the house going directly this far over my head was leaking like 140 something EMF.
Oh, wow.
Background radiation is 0.5 just from the Earth's magnetic field. I'm going, there's your problem.
Carl actually asks about that. Why did ghost hunters settle on EMF meters as a hunting tool? Was there evidence that ghosts emit EMF?
You got to ask somebody in a higher pay grade. I just followed what the others did.
Okay. And Carl mentioned for your earlier story, why would anybody put a breaker box in a bed?
In the basement under the bed.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry about that, but it was
No.
in the basement under her bed.
I'm trying to think where the breaker box.
In your house is?
Yeah, it's in my basement, but my bedroom is up on the top floor, so it wouldn't have any effect. So
yeah. Of course, now the first investigation. Oh, the stories of the first investigation. We investigated a condominium.
Oh.
Yeah, we roll into the complex. I'm going, contamination out the ass. Well, we go in. We're doing our investigation. It's 3-bedroom apartment. How long is it going to take you to spend 30 minutes in each room? Not
Yeah.
long.
No. 5 minutes of that.
Well, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
But while we're investigating the master bedroom, I'm hearing stomping on the ceiling, all this. I'm going, what in the world? Our audio is going to be so contaminated. And the partner, Marcus, who was my lead investigator, it was just me and him. He goes, Joe, there is no third floor. I'm going, okay, yeah, that would keep you up at night. Probably raccoons.
Oh, yep.
But yeah, it sounded like stomping back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth.
But was this place very close to the neighbor house?
It was on the end. There was
Okay.
there was actually a stairwell on the other side of the wall. It wasn't
Okay.
two walls that butted together. So, but we go through and do the investigation, and here it is. We got the place till 3 a.m. It's 1:30. I'm going, wonderful. What are we going to do now? And I look, we're looking around. I said, well, we haven't investigated the linen closet down there. We go down, and let me rephrase this. Marcus is also alternative lifestyle African American.
Okay.
Right? He opens the door, and I hear, and I look at him. I go, was that you? He goes, no, I thought it was you. I said, write the time down. Write the time down on your recorder. So we go in, we wrap everything up, finally get them, people come back. So we go home and investigate, and I said, I'll let you know something in a few days. Of course, you know me, I go straight to the audio at that time.
I would too.
The was an EVP. Well, it was an actual, we could actually hear the noise.
Oh.
On EVP, it says, don't go in that closet.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. I called him on the phone. I said, Marcus, get over here now. Well, I said, I'm on it now. He goes, it asked me what I said, it's about the investigation now. He says, you got something. I said, now. He comes over, he puts the headphones on, he's like, I said, now remember, it wasn't me that said this. He's like, okay. And he went, yeah, I remember. Oh, hell no. He says, I want a rabbi, a priest, and a shaman.
I know we're supposed to end the show after an hour, but I'm curious about more. I have I have a few more questions that I'd like to ask you. So I think we're going to go for another half hour. But if you're okay with that.
The reveal was even better.
Okay.
As we're presenting all this, and then we presented that evidence to the people, tickle me elmo in the living room. We all jump, and they said, "Oh, go get it." I said, no, why? Go get it. So we go get the Tickle Me Elmo. And they said, no, look at the batteries. This thing's dancing, wiggling. I open the battery box up, it quits, and there's no batteries in it.
What? Interesting.
I put it, close it back up, put Elmo right back in the box he came from. I said, you need to move. They said, we leave Sunday. This was Friday. They were already
Yeah.
out. Yeah.
Oh.
So when somebody talks about Tickle Me Elmos, I'm like, nope,
Yep.
nope, them things is haunted.
Uh,
Right.
Dan has a comment about an alarm clock that had made humming noises, and you know what? I have that same sensitivity when it comes to noises, and my in-laws has a TV that at a certain frequency will sound, and I feel like I'm the only one who hears it. Everybody else is like, it doesn't make a sound. I'm like, yeah, it's very high pitched. How do you guys not notice that?
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking about, but thankfully, I don't deal with that anymore because I've got tinnitus so bad
Oh,
that it drowns it out.
oh no. But yeah, no, like I every so often, like, I know my house isn't haunted because yeah. um, but I've been in places that where there's something to it, like there's a certain vibe to it that yeah, I just stay away. But with my house, every so often, because my house is so close to my neighbor's house, I can actually hear my neighbors like running up and down their stairs or talking just faintly.
Yeah.
And it's really creepy because it's like you hear, if you ever hear voices, if you're at my house and you hear voices, if the TV's off, it's my neighbors talking. It's not, my house isn't haunted.
Bring up Carl's two comments. Bring the first one up first.
I've heard other stories of tickle meal. See, I've heard of that too. Those things I feel like are made very, very sensitive.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, Carl, no, they don't need to be taken apart and investigated. They need to be destroyed in fire.
They're evil.
Send them back to the fire from whence they came.
They have the same they have the same spirit as Christine. I'm pretty sure of it. So, something happened in the factory that made them evil.
Yeah. But yeah, no. When somebody goes, oh, I got a classic Tickle Me Elmo, I said, you get that damn thing away from me.
I'm wondering if it's like a faulty, wiring, or
how does it work without
something in
batteries? No batteries. That's the
yeah, even without being haunted, they're evil. Yeah.
yes.
But yeah, no. There was something that you touched on a while back in a conversation that we had about your dog looking up at, or a dog looking up at the ceiling or the archway of a house.
Oh, the cemetery. A Masonic cemetery. We were doing that was one of our early investigations to where we had developed technology that we could go out and do our full camera layout off grid.
Oh,
We recorded to DVD. Reason we recorded a DVD, it was a non-rewritable DVD, meaning once it's burned, you can't alter it.
Mm-hmm.
Had this investigation of we're doing camera setup. We use the top of the hill as our remote sensing, and then we put the team down in the lower field. Well, that was the night we found the Hornets, by the way.
Oh no.
I go back and I flip our monitor on, and one of the cameras is pointed the wrong way. I'm going, well, that's not right. So, me and Marcus go back up, reset the camera, and again, mark our time when we discovered it. Continued on with the investigation. Well, the haunted arch has been, legend in the area. So I said, I'm going to put 2 cameras on the arch, one high, one low. Well, after we did, wrapped up the investigation, everybody's going, we want to see what moved the camera. We got to see what moved the camera. Well, we get up to that point, you can see the camera start to shake. And then all of a sudden the camera just up and falls over. We're like,
oh,
whoa, yeah. Camera starts shaking again. We're going, okay. And we see a fang. And all of a sudden, we see a mouth. And it picks it up again. And I'm seeing down the tonsils of a coyote.
oh.
Well, the coyote drops it, looks back up at the arch. We think, okay, that's weird. He goes for the camera again, drops it, looks back up at the arch, and scatters off.
Oh.
We're like, okay. So, I go do the all our reviewing, and I'm sitting there and I'm going, what was the coyote looking at? So I'm winding, and then all of a sudden, I see the coyote walk over to grab the camera, picks it up, plays with it. This fog appeared around my camera, went through the arch towards the coyote. Took all of a half second for that to happen.
Oh, wow.
13 frames. Coyote goes back to playing with it. Fog forms again, goes back through, and then envelops the coyote.
Wow.
Rest of the night, nothing appeared on the camera.
Huh. Wow.
So that's the story of the coyote and the camera.
Okay. I mean, hey, at least you got some some activity.
But that is the only thing we ever got on camera.
And I mean, I'm sure you've had instances like that where you got nothing out of an investigation. Meanwhile, people have told you that the place is extremely haunted.
Of course, I would always test my team. And we were doing an investigation on this one house, and they had, one of those old 50s style refrigerators,
Yep.
had the lock handle on it.
Yeah.
Every time I walk by, I'd go, there's a cold spot right here. And just look around. Then, I'd go on. Of course, crew would walk over there and going, temperature readers, all this. We're going, nothing. Then finally, one of them goes, "Damn it, Joe Dog!" I said, "What?" "The refrigerator is a cold spot." I said, "Exactly. Y'all need to pay more attention."
Interesting. Huh. That's good to know.
Yeah. I
Um,
never do nothing without an ulterior motive.
um, like I know that people's imagination definitely plays a big role into what they see, and so how do you take into account people's own imagination into these investigations?
Well, that's part of the pre-questioning questionnaire that our case manager would go through, and one of the questions she's asked is, anybody experiencing this had any psychological disorders, or under or taking any medications for psychotic disorders? Of course, everybody's going to go no, but yeah.
Yeah, I seem to remember that story from a previous Stupid O'Clock show.
Yeah. But one
yeah. Oh, no, go ahead.
One thing I'm going to say, and anybody tuning in or whatever, if you feel your house is haunted, do not investigate it yourself. Just don't.
Yeah.
Call somebody else in. I had part of the dangers of the paranormal, the founders of SoCal PRS, the little demons got in his head. He actually ended up on an episode of Intervention.
Oh.
It drove him crazy, drove him into drug and alcohol abuse. He's sober now, but still, he's cut all ties to the paranormal field.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's pretty much that. But I'm going to have to we're either going to have to wrap up, or I got to run down the hall.
Oh, yeah, no worries. Thank you for joining us tonight. I appreciate it. And I always have a fun time chatting with you.
Oh, yeah. You never know what I'm going to do. I mean, I might even slip a BarnCon story in on you.
Well, we'll have to definitely do a show before your convention comes up in October.
All right. But yeah, I'm going to have to run. I hate to be rude, but I got to go.
No worries.
All right.
I'll close things down here. You have a good night, Joe Dog.
You too. Bye.
Bye. All right. So those of you interested, you guys can join the conversation at Stupid O'Clock on Thursday and Saturday nights, and look them up. Look them up on YouTube and on Facebook. Joe McKeel. It was a pleasure talking to you guys tonight. You guys can find me all over social media. I am the Peppermint Princess, but you can find me all over social media if you just Google my name. Thank you again for joining us, and join us next in 2 weeks for another episode of Cryptid Crunch.